Welcome to the last day of the week, day 5, happy Friday, and we are going to continue looking to find theme in a poem. So today we're going to read mountains and we're going to have the 4 boxes that we've been practicing. And remember yesterday we added a 5th box. So let's go through all 5 boxes, shall we? In box 1, and you should be setting up your paper as we're going through this, in box 1, you're going to have what the poem is mostly about. In box 2, you're going to make a connection to your life. In box 3, you're going to keep track of any feelings of the author. In box 4, you're going to write theme. And then you can make a list at the bottom or on the back of your paper about any phrases that you see that are figurative language. Go ahead and pause the video, make sure your page is all set up, and then you can restart. Okay, all set? Let's go ahead and read through Mountains. It's a pretty short poem, only 3 stanzas. In this poem, a speaker describes snow-covered mountains. As you read, take notes on how the speaker feels about nature. Feelings is one of our boxes, so that's perfect. Tall and bold like a castle, looming in the dark, they rise to a towering height, as everything beneath cowers in fright. Covered in a blanket of silvery mist, you feel as though kissed by the cold, bitter wind as it rushes past. The snow-peaked tops are like pure, pristine crystals, timeless in all their beauty. You can smell, feel, taste, and hear all the earth around you. The sound of birds chirping like music boxes, the taste of juicy berries bursting with flavor, the smell of fresh pine air, and the feeling of pine needles, which, I declare, feel great on your sore, blistered feet. All right, so take a moment and fill out that first box. What is this poem mostly about? I'll wait for you. Okay, so what is this poem mostly about? They actually gave you a hint in this gray box, and it says right here, in this poem, a speaker describes snow-covered mountains. But when you were reading, if you didn't read that gray box, it might be a little hard because there's a lot of figurative language. If the poet had simply said, "One day I saw some snow-covered mountains," not only would the poem be very short, it'd also be pretty boring. So we know what the poem is mostly about. It said that in the gray box. But let's use the figurative language to think about the feelings that the author is having. So the figurative language that I noticed right off the bat is the first line, tall and bold like a castle. Now let's see if you remember. Like a castle. Is that a simile or a metaphor? You're right, a simile, because it has the word like in it. Remember, like and as tell us that they're using a simile to compare 2 things. In this case, they're comparing a mountain with a castle. Very nice. So they've told us that this mountain looks like a castle. What else did they tell us? Very good. Covered in a blanket of silvery mist. Very interesting. Of course, there's no real blanket. They're talking about a comparison between silvery mist of snow and a blanket that we might cover up with, creating that good picture in our mind. Excellent. What else did you see? Very good. The sound of birds chirping like music boxes. As we're reading these descriptions, especially in that last stanza where they talk about each one of our senses, we're really getting a picture in our mind of what it's like to be there. We can probably almost have like a movie going on in the back of our mind because we could hear the birds chirping, we can imagine an actor eating some juicy berries, we can almost smell that fresh pine. Do you have anything to connect to this poem? Because we live in Florida, most of you have probably not been to the mountains. A lot of you have never even seen snow. So does that mean that there's nothing we can compare to? We can't connect with anything? I think that you can probably imagine some time in your life where you've been in awe of something. Maybe it was the first time you went to the Columbian in downtown Tampa, and it was so beautiful with all the tile work that you just thought, wow, this is incredible. Or maybe it was going to the ocean. Sometimes standing by the ocean, I'm just overwhelmed with how big it is and how I'm standing in the same water as a whale and a shark and fish and crabs and lobster are standing in. You don't have to be at the mountains in order to be able to connect to the poem. You just have to make a connection to some time that you have been completely in awe of something. In our case, the poet is in awe of the mountains, but we've all been awestruck by something. All right, so we talked about the figurative language and how it creates a picture for the audience. We talked about what the poem is mostly about. What kind of feelings, let's go a little deeper in there. What kind of feelings is the poet feeling? Take a moment, pause this video, and write down in the box what you're thinking. Okay, you're back. So let's put everything together. What do you think is the theme of this poem? You don't have to answer right now because your assignment is going to be to log into Common Lit, reread this poem on your own, and then answer the guiding questions and assessment questions. Let me know if you have any questions.